तत्परम्पर्याय विद्महे ज्ञानलिङ्गेश्वराय धीमहि तन्नो गुरुः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ योग महर्षि डॉक्टर स्वामी गीतानंद गिरी गुरु महाराज की जय। Salutations to the Parampara, the Grand Masters of the lineage, who enable us to manifest the life-transforming teachings of yoga. Yoga, that is basically living mindfully. Every moment, awareness, consciousness, mindfulness, taking responsibility for what we think, taking responsibility for what we say, and taking responsibility for what we do. Being able to observe ourselves without identifying, without condemnation, and without justification. The capacity to introspect, the capacity for self-reflection, the capacity for caring and sharing, the capacity to realize what we know is limited, what we don't know is unlimited. Welcome to another round of our Scintillating Saturdays. Today is episode 16 of this series. Always a pleasure to have all of you log in online with me. We have been looking at the hasta mudras. Hasta mudras, the gestures of the hands. The hands are an extension of the heart. The hands contain reflexogenic feedback points. And when we perform the mudras, these reflexogenic points are stimulated, activated, awakened, and they can send impulses into our nervous system, the physical nervous system. And depending on that area in your brain that is brought alive with this reflexogenic feedback, certain effects start to manifest through your nervous system. And the nervous system is not on its own. The nervous system is connected to the endocrine system. The nervous system is connected to your immune system. And the nervous system has beyond it that aspect of our psyche, making up who we are psychically. Our thoughts, our emotions, our feelings, our aspirations, our intentions, and our connectivity to the higher self. All of that is the Aadhi. So when we work with the mudras, they are not just some finger exercises. The mudras are a dynamic form of intrapersonal communication, where when you perform each mudra, what you are doing is that you are communicating with yourself. Now, sometimes we don't know what we are communicating. It is the unconscious communication, especially non-verbal communication is often unconscious. People communicate arrogance through non-verbal communication and then wonder why people get offended by them. You know, if you're talking to me and I'm like, you're going to say, Dr. Ananda, you're not interested in what I have to say. And you say, well, I didn't mean it. I was listening to you. You were hearing but not listening. Hearing just happens. Listening has to happen, has to be made to happen. The mind has to come into listening. Non-verbal communication is often unconscious. And people have no idea how they are putting the hands or the feet, the body posture. All of this is a mudra. In fact, in Hatha Yoga, the asanas get upgraded into mudras. An example is Viparita Karani, which looks like a badly performed Sarvangasana. It becomes a mudra. Viparita Karani becomes a mudra. So an asana, a body posture, gets upgraded into a mudra by the way the energy flows through the mind. And this is why the unconscious body language is converted into a conscious body talk. That is why my DVDs on mudras, one was mudras and the other was body talk. The mudras, one was more on the hasta mudras. Body talk was about the kaya mudras. We call them kaya mudra, K-A-Y-A. Kaya means the body. Mudras done through the body. The Maha Mudra is one of them. Viparita Karani, Vajroli, Sahajroli, Amaroli. We are focusing more on the hasta mudras. So these hasta mudras give us an opportunity because the area in your brain for the hands is gigantic. The area for your hands in your brain is gigantic. And the sensory motor homunculus, basically if you put your hands above the ear, the sensory motor homunculi that are running here, if you put your hands here, the middle two fingers basically are covering your sensory motor homunculus, sensory motor area of your cortex, the brain. The sensation in the back, motor in the front. Same thing with your spinal vertebrae. When you go into the spinal cord and you dissect it, you will find that the posterior part, that is the back, is the sensation. So all the sensations come into the back of the nervous system and then they come through the front and then the motor response occurs. So sensation comes in the back, motor comes out through the front. Sensory, motor. So same thing with your cortex here, the sensory motor cortex. The sensory is on the back, pre-central gyrus. There is a central gyrus, central sulcus. The central sulcus, because your brain is not like a normal highway. It looks like an Indian mud road. So there are ups and downs and ups and downs and ups and downs like our village roads here. That up is called a gyrus. The down is called a sulcus. So gyrus, sulcus, gyrus, sulcus, gyrus, sulcus. And this type of convolution of your cerebral cortex enhances the amount of surface area for your cortical function to manifest. Like with the lungs, you have that immense surface area. With your intestines, the intestinal villi create immense surface area for absorption. Same thing in the lungs, the alveoli, filling up football fields with just one lung. They are creating extensive surface area. So the convolutions, the gyrus and sulci of your cortex enable more surface area for more neurons to function. Well, potentially they can function. You have to mindfully use them. Most people use less than 10% of the brain. That's what Swamiji used to remind us. That Albert Einstein was only using 8% of his brain. So how much do you think you are using? He used to ask his students. And while they were calculating, he would say, I'll give you the answer, none. You are just operating off your spinal cord and brainstem reflexes. Most people are spinal cord reflex living, that's all. You hit me, I hit you. You like me, I like you. You shout at me, I shout back. No response or responsibility. It has to come up here. We have to grow. We have to grow from the spinal to the mammalian to the human. That is the growth within us. Coming back, sensory motor cortex. So the precentral gyrus. So the central sulcus is the sort of the trough. On either side you have the mound. It's like you have dug a hole and left sand on either side and elevation. So you have the trench, the trough. The trench is the sulci, and the gyri are the elevated mounds next to it. So the central sulcus has before it and post it pre-central gyrus and post-central gyrus. So the central sulcus, pre-central and post-central gyrus. Pre means in front, post means behind. So the one behind is the one where the sensations come in, and the one in front is where the motor activity begins and is taken forward. So in that sensory motor cortex, somatosensory areas, there's a huge representation for your face and for your hands. The rest of the body is not much. And that is why the sensations on the face and sensations in the hands are maximum, and motor fine dexterity is maximum when you talk about the fingers and when you talk about your face. How much expression we can make with the face, what we can do with the lips and the tongue. So amazing. So amazing. And that type of fine refinement is because of how much area is given in the sensory motor cortex to your hands. And that is why when we do the hasta mudras, they are not throwaway gestures. Every time you do a mudra, you are working on those brain areas. And when you bring both the mudras together, like yoga mudra we did Shakti mudra and the Shiva mudra and then the Shivalinga mudra and all this. When you do those mudras, right and left hemispheres are really being interconnected. We have seen in the previous lessons, Chin mudra, the gesture of consciousness. Chit mudra becoming Chin mudra. And when you bind the consciousness, it becomes Chinmaya. So, Chit becomes Chinmaya. Chit, Chin mudra becomes Chinmaya when you bind. Maya means to bind. Okay, so we bind. Here it is activating, opening up to the consciousness with discipline. The individual connecting with the universal in a controlled, disciplined way. Atha yoga anushasanam. When you start to consciously bind that chit, you are now coming into Chinmaya mudra. The word chit refers to the entire spectrum of consciousness. Chitta refers to the subconscious, unconscious, that which is below the normal consciousness. Manas refers to the consciousness, the intelligence of the consciousness. Buddhi is the higher discerning intellect, where the capacity for choice lies. And the power of choice is the superpower of being human. Okay? So that is in our buddhi. That is why we want to be a buddhiman. We want to develop our buddhi. We want to become a buddhiman, a human being endowed with buddhi. Buddhiman manushya we want to be. Most people are struggling with that. So you have the chitta, the subconscious, unconscious, which is like the reptilian brain activity. Manas, which is like your brainstem and, brainstem is, I would say, let's say, reptilian spinal cord brainstem is more chitta type of activity, unconscious, subconscious, autonomic function that keeps everything going. When you come to the emotions and you come to that part of you, the manas starts to come in. The part of you where the capacity to discern, the capacity to make a choice, to know the difference between what to do and what not to do, what to be, what not to be or not to be, says Hamlet. If he weren't so confused, he would be a yogi, okay? Hamlet the yogi. And then there is a part of us, they say it's the prefrontal cortex where the sense of personality, persona, who you are as an individual is found. That is the ahankara. So all of these are the subunits, but the bigger wholesomeness is chit, which refers to the whole spectrum of consciousness itself. When you do chin mudra, you are opening up to the whole spectrum of consciousness. When you do Chinmaya, you are binding yourself into that whole spectrum of consciousness. And when you do the chin mudra, a reflexogenic pathway is strengthened that goes to the chin bindu, in the aprakasha bindu, inside your respiratory center, in the brainstem, pons medulla area. There is what is called a chin bindu, a point which is related to the breathing into the lower part of your lungs, the Adham Pranayama. So when you do chin mudra, that reflexogenic feedback works on that chin bindu in your brainstem, in your aprakasha bindu, saying that I want to breathe primarily focusing my mind consciously, mindfully into the low part of my lungs. The foundational aspect, Adhama. When you do the Chinmaya mudra, the Chinmaya bindu, which is now that part in your respiratory center, which works on the intercostal areas of the mid-chest, Madhyam Pranayama, that is brought into play. So when you do the Chinmaya mudra and you are breathing, your brainstem is being told that intrapersonal, non-verbal body talk is going on saying, please focus primarily into the mid-chest breathing, that area which is Madhyam Pranayama. That is what is being told. And then you let your mind focus there, anchor there. And you start to enhance the flow, because where the mind goes, the energy flows. The third is the upper chest region, Adhyam. Aadhi means the highest or the causal. Adhyam Pranayama, where you are working with the upper chest or clavicular. Now the danger with calling it clavicular is people think they have to start moving this area when they breathe, and you find a lot of people who are going, and you say, what are you doing? They say, we are doing Adhyam Pranayama. I'm like, well, not really. When you're doing Adhyam Pranayama, the Adhyam Pranayama, the movement is inside, not outside. If you have to do the outside movement, it means nothing is happening inside. It's like all the people who do so much and are never doing anything. They are too busy to do anything. A lot of people are like that. They are seen to be very active, but there's no activity at all. I think the peak of karma yoga, and Swamiji and Amaji have shown me by the living example, is when you do a job so well, nobody even knows you did it. You have done it so well, nobody even knows you have done it. That is the highest skill in action. They thought it was very easy because, you just got up and it was done. It is only when they try to do it, they realize how difficult it is. It is a Herculean task. And you make it so easy by your skill in action. So here, what we are doing is that when you do this, you are using what is called Aadhi Mudra, where the thumb is brought into the palms, the other fingers are closed around it, and brought down onto the lap. The Aadhi mudra is not with the thumb outside, it's with the thumb inside. Remember, the thumb signifies the universality, the big Atma, Paramatma. And that is usually hidden very well in the sensory world. The divine is very well hidden. Aadhi mudra is signifying the divine that is hidden. It is the causal plane of consciousness, the causal plane of existence called Karana Sharira or Linga Sharira. Remember Shivalinga Mudra? Linga Sharira. Linga Sharira, Karana Sharira, to which you tap into when you perform mindful upper chest breathing. The lower chest breathing enables you to tap into the manifest, sthula aspect of embodiment. Mid-chest breathing opens you up to the subtle aspects of embodiment. Upper chest breathing, done mindfully, opens you up to that highest causal plane of existence and embodiment, Karana Sharira. And you are tapping into that, Karana or Linga Sharira. So the Aadhi mudra is with the thumb inside, signifying that highest Aadhi, that which is the root source, the causal start of everything. We say Aadhi, which means the beginning of everything. That which is the causal, it is hidden because we don't perceive it. And that is why that concept of Aadhi mudra enables us to tap into that highest aspect of consciousness, and we energize the whole upper part of our nervous system, head, neck and all. Now Terry has asked me a question here. Difference in Mahat Pranayama with Sparsha Mudras and Pranayama with Hasta Mudra. The Sparsha Mudra is a preliminary training. When you do the Sparsha Mudra, you are touching. You are touching yourself in a very beautiful, mindful, loving relationship. And when you are placing your hands here, your hands are anchoring the mind into that region, because most people are not aware of their own body. When you place your hands to the side of your mid-chest, you are becoming aware of that. Your mind is being anchored. When you place your hands to the back of the mid-chest, what you are doing? You are now anchoring your mind into that region, a region that you would not think about. When I do the Manduka Mudra and bring my hands over my shoulders and place my hands on the upper part of my back, now when I breathe and try to move my hands with my breath, I am letting my mind flow into the posterior region of the apical lobe. The upper lobe, the back side. Posterior, apical. That bronchopulmonary segment is being opened up. What are the hands doing? They are creating an anchorage so that the mind can go there, to help the mind flow, because where the hands are put, it's easier for the mind to go. So the Sparsha Mudras are the preliminary part of Mahat Yoga Pranayama. Once you have developed the awareness, you can start working with the mudras. So then the mudras will be more powerful. Now someone who has no awareness, even if they were to do the mudra, there will be some benefit. It is not a waste. But if you have done the Sparsha Mudras and become aware, become mindful of these 9 regions on each lung, and then you perform the mudra, what is going to happen is that it is going to be enhanced. It is like you have primed the pump so that the maximum benefit can manifest in your existence. So Sparsha Mudras as preliminary relationship builders. And then the Hasta Mudra, the Chinmaya, Aadhi and all, they are to take it to the next level of refinement. This is where the aspect of, in business deals, they often have the people who open the deal. And then you have those who get the deal done. Opening the deal is the Sparsha Mudra. Getting the deal done is the Hasta Mudra. This is another way to take it forward. Now the Hasta Mudras will have benefit on their own, but by doing the Sparsha Mudras, you are enhancing. It is like, sensitizing. Sparsha mudra is sensitizing these connections. It is like you are sensitizing the connections, you are cleaning them up, so that when you do the hasta mudras, the flow is just going to be like an 8-lane highway rather than an Indian road in the village, a mud road that we talked about, ups and downs. Chin mudra, Chinmaya mudra, and Aadhi mudra. Aadhi mudra for the upper chest breathing. They are all then brought together in the Mahat Yoga Pranayama. Mahat, the great, Yoga, integrative, Pranayama, well, mindfulness of the life energy flowing through the breath. And suddenly you just open up to these wonderful energies. Next week I'll work on Mahat Yoga because I'm trying to time my Saturday mornings to sort of add on to what we are doing in our yoga step by step on Sundays. So it is sort of, I'm trying to create another study material for my yoga step by step team 52, who are just surpassing my expectations. I've been just wonderful, the work you are putting into yourself. That the best investment is what you put into yourself, into your own spiritual growth. These mudras, Chin, Chinmaya, and Aadhi. Aadhi mudra is a very beautiful mudra because the same mudra later on next week we'll see becomes Brahma mudra when brought together at the navel. So two Aadhis coming together at the navel become the Brahma mudra, the Mahat Yoga mudra. It is quite an amazing way this is built, and Swamiji's teachings are definitely step by step. That is why he called the course Yoga Step by Step. And the good news is we are working on a possibility for this course to be given an additional certification by the Indian Yoga Association as an advanced certificate in yoga. So stay tuned for that information which we are working on, because we want to strengthen the Indian Yoga Association. That is the official coming together of all the major yoga traditions of India and coming together in a harmonious mutual respect for each and every tradition. So we are working on that, and those who complete the full 52 lessons will be eligible for that advanced certificate in yoga being given by Indian Yoga Association. I'm in the process because I am not interested in external validation. I want internal validation, and to have the approval of the Indian Yoga Association for me is more important than some business model from someplace else. I'm trying to be very diplomatic because a very dear student of my father and mother, who's also a student of mine in many ways, a dear friend, pointed out that sometimes a gangster yogi may be creating a bit of himsa instead of ahimsa. So I'm trying to be a bit more choiceful. Choiceful. I like choiceful. I don't know if English has a word choiceful, but Dr. Ananda just created it. Every aspect, Swamiji builds it step by step, because that is how the yoga life is built. Not that suddenly you get to samadhi, no. Swamiji always told us, do the first things first. Do the first things first. Yoga step by step. And what are we doing? When we do the Chin Mudra, we are working on the foundation, the basal foundation. That is your diaphragm. Because if your diaphragm is not working properly, the rest of your respiratory apparatus will not work. Then what are you doing? You want to become aware of the first part, the basal. What is the foundation? Your body. The gross level. Sthula Sharira. Then you work through the Madhyam Pranayama. You move from the body into the psychic aspects. You are working into the other aspects. You are working into the aspects which are not quantifiable. They are beautiful qualitative aspects of the energy, of the mind, of the higher discerning intellect. And then as you grow into the upper chest, the Adhyam Pranayama, you are connecting with that higher, the Aadhi. And you are connecting in a beautiful way with your Karana Sharira. You are unifying the lower, mid and upper parts of your lungs. That is one yoga happening. Unification of the Vibhaga. You are unifying the lower, middle and upper parts of the body. The Kaya is being unified. That is why when we do the Kaya Kriya, we do the lower part, the body, lower limb movement with the Adham Pranayama, the upper limb movement of the hands with Madhyam Pranayama, and the head movement with the Adhyam Pranayama. Because the three aspects of the lower, middle and upper parts of your body are being brought together. A Kaya Yoga, a yoga of the body coming together. So that all parts of your body are working together. All parts of your lungs are working together. And then the gross, subtle and causal aspects of your embodiment. Sthula, Sukshma, Karana, they are coming together in another form of yoga. So many aspects of yoga are manifesting at the same time. And that is why these are not throwaway practices. Oh, I learned a new gesture. What next? Can I have a few more? That is technique shopping. Technique shopping is very common in modern yoga. You don't need more techniques. You need more practice of the techniques you have. You don't need more techniques. You need more awareness of the techniques you are practicing. You don't need more techniques. You need more experiential awareness of the techniques you have that you are practicing. But we are always window shopping, technique shopping, guru shopping. Guru shopping. And the gurus, the modern gurus, advertise themselves so well. The spiritual MBAs of the world. One policy we made long ago was, we don't advertise. The ashram doesn't even have a sign now on the main road because they started working on the main road. The small sign we used to have, which people missed, even that sign doesn't exist anymore. So important. Those who have to get to you will get to you. When the student is ready, the master will appear. You don't have to go and advertise yourself. If you have to go around saying, I am the guru, I am the guru, I am the guru, you are not the guru. If you have to go around saying, I am the best, I am the best, I am the best, you are not the best. If you have to go around saying, I am enlightened, I am enlightened, I am enlightened, you are not enlightened. Just be. Just be. When you are being yourself, you are fulfilling your dharma. When you are being yourself, you are fulfilling your dharma by just being. And as you fulfill your dharma, you mitigate all the karma that is there. Dharma is the vaccine. Dharma is the antidote to karma. Dharma is the vaccine against karma that has not yet manifested. Dharma is the antidote to karma that has already manifested. Live your dharma. That is why we are born human. See you all again next week in Scintillating Saturdays. And I am nowadays using this as an add-on to the sessions we are having on Sundays for the yoga step by step. We have completed 4 weeks. Tomorrow is our 5th session. And I am so proud of our team 52. You are such a beautiful team. Amma and Swamiji are so proud of you. Dhanyavadaha. Namaste.